He's laughing at us. All that and more just ahead on the 10 o'clock news.
WBBM Television, sharing the spirit of Chicago.
From Chicago's news team, this is Channel 2, the 10 o'clock news.
Good evening. Eugene Hassenfuss is a free man tonight. He got his pardon 10 weeks after his plane was shot down over Nicaragua. It was loaded with guns for the Contra rebels. The political advantages of Hassenfuss' release were not lost on the Sandinistas. He was handed over to Connecticut's Democratic Senator Christopher Dodd, a key member of the powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Using the kind of theatrics that have characterized the case from the start, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega announced the pardon with Hassenfuss' wife at his side. But whatever the international intrigue, Eugene Hassenfuss will now be home for Christmas.
Where am I going to spend it? With my family. Where? I don't know yet.
The Sandinistas say they hope the freeing of Hassenfuss will lead to improved relations with the U.S.
This is a message from the people of Nicaragua to the people of the United States, a message of peace, a message also to the government of the United States. The message is that we want to have normal relations with the government of the United States.
President Ortega is anxious to have Hassenfuss return to the U.S. so he can tell Congress about what he knows about the Contra connection to the arms deal with Iran.
And on that subject tonight, Capitol Hill is refusing to give immunity to two key figures in that affair who have balked at testifying. They are the former National Security Advisor, John Poindexter, and his ousted aide, Colonel Oliver North. Investigators in the Congress say they don't want to jeopardize any possible criminal cases.
After some more spirited, intellectual and otherwise discussion, came to the conclusion that it was premature for this Intelligence Committee to make the decision on immunity at this time.
That decision is a blow to President Reagan, who had hoped that the grants of immunity would help, as he put it, get out the truth quickly. On another subject, the White House is saying tonight that the Marine Lieutenant North probably was joking when he said he planned to kidnap relatives of Iranian officials and swap them for American hostages. The story was attributed to North by an unnamed source quoted in the Los Angeles Times. A White House spokesman is saying tonight there is no substance to the kidnapping story, although North repeated it several times to colleagues at the White House.
The White House reports tonight that President Reagan will have prostate surgery January 4th. A spokesman says that for some time now, the president has been suffering mild discomfort from an enlarged prostate gland. The operation is described as common for a man the president's age, 75. It will require a stay of several days at Bethesda Naval Hospital.
It's so common that urologists all over the country are called upon to do this operation very, very frequently.
The main symptom is difficulty in urinating. The prostate gland is located just below the bladder, and when it becomes enlarged, it obstructs the flow of urine, causing pain and swelling. Again, the operation to relieve that problem is described as both common and routine. And while the president is in the hospital, doctors also will check for any recurrence of the colon cancer he experienced. That was in 1985.
An interesting story to report tonight about Wayne Newton, the singer. Well, he has clipped the tail, as they say, of the NBC peacock to the tune of 19 million smackaroos. A federal jury ruled today that NBC News defamed Newton in a series of reports on organized crime that were broadcast in 1980 and 1981. Newton said that those broadcasts harmed his reputation by linking him with organized crime. The jury said NBC News deliberately set out to injure Newton. The $19 million damage award was far more than even Newton himself asked. Lawyers for NBC say they will appeal that verdict. In Detroit, the former sports car maker John DeLorean was found not guilty on 15 counts of fraud and racketeering today. Federal prosecutors charged that he had raised more than $8 million from people investing in his company, then diverted that money to his own use. DeLorean still has to fight 20 civil lawsuits stemming from the failure of his company.
Here in Chicago tonight, the candidates running for mayor seem to be playing hide and seek with the media. At the same time, National Democratic Party leaders are avoiding the candidates. National Democratic Chairman Paul Kirk is refusing to endorse anyone in the race, a move that will disappoint Jesse Jackson. As our political editor Mike Flannery reports, Jackson has been making a big pitch for National Democrats to endorse Washington.
Despite their occasional disagreements, Jesse Jackson and Harold Washington often end up campaigning together. A few weeks ago, Jackson was strongly urging the Democratic Party's National Committee in Washington, D.C. to adopt a resolution praising the mayor. It also would have ordered DNC Chairman Paul Kirk to personally mediate an end to the feuding among Chicago Democrats. Jackson's resolution did not pass, and today Kirk formally rejected his advice. Kirk telephoned all 4 of the big-name Democrats running for mayor, telling them the voters of Chicago will decide for themselves, without the interference of the National Democratic Party. Once voters have selected their Democratic nominee for mayor, the National Democratic Party will stand behind their choice. The mayor's political director said he was disappointed, but candidate Thomas Hines said the mayor and his allies should stop talking about political orthodoxy. Washington himself has said he might run as an independent outside the party.
He has not made a commitment to stay in the Democratic Party, in the Democratic primary, although I'm convinced that that's what he's going to do. He has not yet made an unequivocal commitment to stay in the Democratic Party primary. And so how can he criticize others when he has not yet made a commitment himself?
Plunging into the middle of all of this may be the last thing the Democratic National Committee wants to do, but another local group is willing. Members call it CONDUCT. It's an acronym for the Committee on Decent, Unbiased Campaign Tactics. They've issued guidelines to discourage political appeals to bigotry, and they've hired 16 trained observers to monitor the campaign. Monitoring candidate Jane Byrne may prove difficult. A spokesman says Byrne will honor the CONDUCT guidelines, but with a rare exception, Byrne has been campaigning totally in secret for the past 2 weeks, refusing to tell reporters where she is or what she's doing. Candidate Edward Verdoliak's doing the same thing tonight. The candidates say the media gets in the way, and sometimes I guess we do, but we also make it difficult for them to pitch a message to just one part of town or to just one type of voter. When the TV camera is on hand, the whole city can listen in, Bill and Walter.
It does seem to be very important. She has been doing that for a year or more, of course, leading up.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's with just about one exception for the past 2 weeks, totally incommunicado. It's really unprecedented.
Remember the issue when all the candidates were using the media? We can't find them to be used. We'd love to have it now.
Come on and use us. We're ready.
Still ahead. Suburban police negotiate a peaceful end to a dramatic hostage standoff.
Also tonight, Christmas funny money turns up in the cash registers of some Chicago area stores, and a firestorm is ignited around a new birth control pill that could revolutionize abortion.
Of a young man who was taken hostage during a gas station robbery. 21-year-old Willie Pugh and 20-year-old Ingram Rush will be arraigned on the charges tomorrow. Police say the two robbed a service station in South Chicago Heights last night. When police showed up, the station attendant was taken hostage. Police say they pleaded with the gunman to let 19-year-old Brian Douglas go free. The gunman refused and shot Douglas once in the head at point-blank range, killing him instantly. South Suburban Park Forest today, a man armed with a .357 Magnum kept police at bay for nearly 3 hours. Investigators say 21-year-old Clarence Nunn briefly held 2 children hostage, but they made it to safety. At one point, Nunn traded one of his bullets for a cigarette. Finally, he threw away the gun and surrendered. Police say the hostage ordeal began when Nunn was caught shoplifting at a nearby store and tried to get away. Charges in that case are still pending.
There are some $20 bills floating around Chicago tonight that may be phony as $2 bills. Well, that's not so phony, actually. There are $2 bills. But wait till you hear about these $20 bills. The Secret Service has cracked a counterfeit ring operating on the northwest side of the city, and the feds arrested 7 people in the process, seizing $500,000 in bogus bills. As our Susan Wallace reports, however, not all the phony money is yet off the streets.
It's the season when store owners make most of their money. It is also the time of year when counterfeiters make most of theirs, too. Seymour Abrams found 3 fake 20s in his bank this morning. How did you know they were counterfeit?
By the feel of the bills and running them through our counting machine, the machine had rejected the bills.
Without benefit of detection devices, most retailers have to rely on eyesight to catch a bad bill. Not always easy when there are a lot of customers waiting, and not easy if it's a good counterfeiting job. Howard Haas knows that. He also got 3 bad 20s this week.
We were told all the stuff about rubbing it on paper and checking for the red fibers and things like that, but I held both bills in my hand, a good one and a counterfeit one, and I couldn't tell the difference.
If counterfeit cash is found in a store, it is the store that eats the loss. Some, like Spencer Gifts, even have counterfeit insurance. Other businesses without it may just as soon not want to know that some of the cash in the drawer is not worth the paper it's printed on.
If retailers knowingly pass around the counterfeit money, they too are committing a federal crime. So to protect themselves, retailers are obligated to look out for it and to get it out of circulation.
In the Brickyard Mall, where some of the cash has turned up, the security officers are on the hunt for the moneymakers. The Secret Service is also investigating.
Usually around Christmas time, we always note an increase in the counterfeit currency being passed.
Okay, now let's test your 20s tonight. Here's the serial numbers for the bad bills. L816-594-86D. Again, L816-594-86D. And the bills are 1981 print series A. And if it's bad, if you find a bad 20, you're supposed to turn it over to police. And if you want to know more about your money, we found this book called Know Your Money. And it's printed by the government. It's available in government offices. And there's a charge for the book. Know
Really?
Your
How
Money.
much? $20?
I don't know exactly.
Did you say that if you get a phony bill and then pass it on, you're as guilty as the person who gave it to you?
Absolutely. And if you know you've got a phony, you're not supposed to pass it. You're actually supposed to do a number of things. Figure out who passed it to you. Next thing, write your initials and the date on the bill. Just keep track of it, and then pass it over to the
Meanwhile,
cop.
you're out $20.
Right. You're out of money.
If I got a $20 bill, I mean, the natural tendency is just give it to somebody else, right? You got a bad
the other,
one?
knowingly was the key word I think you used. Doctors in France say they have come up with a medical breakthrough, which is a pill to end early pregnancies that could provide an alternative to surgical abortions. The drug is called RU486. It's experimental. Researchers say it ends a pregnancy by blocking the production of a critical hormone. Without that hormone, a woman goes through her normal menstrual cycle and any fertilized eggs are destroyed. The researchers say in their study, RU486 worked 85% of the time with no serious side effects.
This would be one that would really be welcomed by women in this country.
We've gone from the suction machines to chemical warfare on the unborn child.
Critics claim that a woman using RU486 regularly as a birth control device could be aborting pregnancies without even knowing it. It could be years, if ever, before the drug is on the market in this country.
John Coughlin will be along in a minute with the weather, and don't go away because you will hear a story about the Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa you won't believe.
Really good. We'll have a tale also of a real dog day for a pooch that was caught treading on thin ice.
About man's best friend, well, tonight man is turning the tables. The story revolves around Loki, an 8-year-old pooch that went for a walk on the Grand River in Michigan and ended up inside the drink. Seems the ice on the river wasn't quite thick enough for a stroll. Efforts from shore to rescue Loki failed, so a hearty team headed out in a boat to help him out. As you can see, it wasn't exactly a textbook rescue, but it worked. Loki eventually was hauled ashore, given a rub-down, and taken off to the vet. Tonight, he is tired, but should be back up on all fours by morning.
Well, I'm glad there's a happy ending, because
Yeah.
that was a rough rescue. John Coughlin.
Yes, sir.
Tough weather ahead?
No, not really. We're going to stay kind of mild around here for about another couple of days, and not much chance of any snow for Christmas. At least this part. We're a full week ahead, so I don't want to make any forecast for a week from tomorrow. Here are the current temperatures at 10 o'clock. It's now 36 at O'Hare. It's 34 at the lakefront, 33 at Midway. High today was 40. A low this morning of 35. This afternoon, too. 72% humidity, northwest winds at 15 miles an hour. The barometer's holding steady, and there's sunrise and sunset for tomorrow. We were waiting for sunshine, hoping we'd get some by late this afternoon, but as you can see from the satellite view, there's no sunshine or no clear skies over our part of the country. We still have some thin clouds over here, but out here to the west of us, you notice these skies are clear in parts of the western Dakotas and Wyoming and Idaho and parts of Montana. Well, gradually, oh, so gradually, that clear weather will start to move in. We'll have cloudy skies tomorrow morning, and then by tomorrow afternoon, if all goes well, we will see some sunshine, and not a moment too soon. Situation on the map right now, a weak cool front has moved through. Winds have swung around into a northwesterly direction, and drier air is starting to move in. I think we're finished with all that fog we had around here for the last couple of days. High temperatures around the country today. The hot spot was down in Florida at Tamiami Airport, down in Miami, 85 degrees. By way of contrast, 34 at Sault Ste. Marie, 62 degrees out in Tucson, 73 in Los Angeles, and in the Big Apple, 44 degrees. And they're getting some heavy snow down there in some of the southern plains and the southern mountains as well. Temperatures in our area tomorrow will be in the upper 30s, very close to 40 degrees. There'll be a few 80s down here in southern Florida, but nowhere are we getting any of that real cold Arctic air that we often get at this time of year. 33 in McHenry, 34 in Wilmette, 34 Olson Markham, and 35 degrees in Maryville. Here's a forecast for tonight. Cloudy, some possible flurries, nothing much tonight, low 33 degrees. And then tomorrow, cloudy early, then becoming partly sunny later in the day, 37 for a high temperature. And on Friday, partly sunny, high will be right around 40 degrees. Looking ahead to Saturday and Sunday, looks like we'll be about 37 degrees for a high. And then on Monday, possible rain or maybe mixed with a little wet snow. And that's the way things are shaping up. Gentlemen?
Thank you, John.
Johnny will be up here in a minute with the day in sports.
And we'll have a shocker tonight from the art world. As Walter mentioned, could the lovely Mona Lisa really be a man?
It's hot, red hot. I'll tell you, the Blue Demons are playing like a top 10 team these days. Creighton's not the greatest, but coming off the Louisville win, DePaul looks tremendous. The Demons beat Creighton 74-64 tonight with a ton of steals. After a slow start, the Blue Demons began that bunch of steals after Kevin Edwards swiped it. Rodney Strickland wound up with a bucket. This time, Edwards steals again and gets it to Terrence Green for the beautiful behind-the-back pass to Dallas Comegys, who scored 16. How about that? Edwards had 6 of DePaul's umpteen steals. He picks this one off and does the rest himself. DePaul now on 6-0, won handily, 74-64. How about those apples? Let's check out the NBA. It was Boston beating Indiana. Detroit 122, Utah 107, and it was Cleveland 110, Philadelphia 107. Hey, the Blackhawks won tonight. How about 5-1 over Winnipeg at the stadium? It was already 1-0. Chicago, when Steve Larmer took a perfect pass from Doug Wilson for a breakaway. A nice goal, 2-0 lead before some happy fans at the stadium. After the Jets closed to 2-1, the Hawks scored twice within 7 seconds in the second period. Wayne Presley, number 17, right out in the center. He takes it. It becomes 3-1, and the Hawks won it 5-1. Bob Sylvie did a good job in net for Chicago. In other games, it was New Jersey over Toronto, Hartford 4, Buffalo 3. The Rangers beat Washington, and Edmonton leads Quebec 5-1 in the third period. Wayne Gretzky, he already has 4 goals in that game. The Sting played in Minnesota tonight, came out a loser, 6-5 in double overtime. The Sting actually had the game in control the first half with a 4-2 lead. Here is Pat McGauley with a goal after an assist from Karl-Heinz Granitza. This time, watch Ben Collins. He sizes up the situation slowly, then passes to McGauley, takes the return pass for the goal, but the Strikers rallied to send it to overtime and won it. The final score, 6-5. Good news for 7 Chicago Bears. They made the NFC Pro Bowl team today. On offense, it was Peyton, Colbert, and Hilgenberg. On defense, Dewars and Singletary, and 2 men for the first time, Wilbur Marshall, Steve McMichael. Here are some reactions.
Well, I think I've always had respect around the league, and that's all I've ever wanted. You know, I don't give a damn about recognition for myself. Just as long as the team wins, that's all I've ever cared about.
Feels great. It's been long coming. I thought I played well last year, but I was a new guy on block. I can understand that. This year, I was going to prove, even since the preseason, that I can play this game and should be one of the guys leaving for that trip.
It feels good. But at this point, because it's, who knows, this might be my last year, next year might be my last year. And to know that because you're playing up to a certain caliber going into your last couple of years or whatever it might be, it means a great deal because that means you've kept a certain level of consistency, and that's what it's all about.
Okay, and finally, in case you missed it, the shot of last night's Bulls-New Jersey contest, it didn't count because the referees goofed. They failed to give John Paxson this incredible continuation basket after he was fouled. The ball went to the hoop, and he made it. Now, look at on the replay. You will see that he should have been given the basket. Watch the foul. He gets the shot off before his foot hits, and lo and behold, it went in, but it didn't count. Still a remarkable shot.
Remarkable indeed, and so is this story. For almost 500 years, art lovers have studied the Mona Lisa and wondered, who is she? Why is she smiling? Now the woman of mystery may be a mystery no longer. Using space-age technology, the painting was analyzed with digital computers, and the startling result, Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece of Mona Lisa, seems to be a portrait of Da Vinci himself.
And the pupils lined up exactly. And at that point, I felt there's something going on here. There's a match. It's a match. The conclusion underneath, after seeing it, even before it got here, I said, my God, Leonardo painted himself. He was his own model.
The art world is rushing to the presses to get the word out. Art historians are speculating about the reasons for the veiled self-portrait. Some say Da Vinci was homosexual and wanted to see himself that way. No matter what the reason, we may never look at that strange, hypnotic smile the same way again. He was a very smart man, but was he so smart that he planned a joke that had a punchline 500 years later?
Certainly smart enough.
Indeed. Have a nice evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.